Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central, reaching you live from the Center of Excellence, Lagos State in West Africa. This is where the magic happens. This is where we bring you all the latest information, news, and everything you need to start your day right here on Breakfast Central. I am Gbenga Abubakar. And up next is the leader. Of the,
yes, because we don't have Olivier.
Yes, so, leader, the Johansson-led breakfast leader, Johansson.
I don't know what Gbenga is saying, but you people are trying to trump up some altercation, or a little altercation. They say there's Mazino-led breakfast extra, there's Johansson-led breakfast. I don't know what's going on. It just reminds me of what happened yesterday, the ADC faction. And then, you know, have INEC being told to register them a Federal High Court. There's so many to talk about today. But anyway, welcome to Breakfast Central. Thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to chat with us. We're streaming live on socials, and we are on YouTube, Facebook, X, maybe. But drop a comment or two on our YouTube platform where we get to read and also acknowledge your comments on either of the stories we're bringing to you today. Yesterday we had Yelwata join us. Today we have someone all the way from the weekend-led team whom we've moved. Gbenga, will we say poach? No.
Just transfer season.
Transfer
or
season.
She's on loan.
She's on loan. I like that, loan.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the
royalty.
The royalty. Yes, she joins us this morning.
A queen and more.
A queen and more.
Good morning.
Wow.
Good morning.
Great to have you. Yelwata, you did a good job yesterday, but stay where you are. I don't want to turn to my right and I'll just be seeing beer. Too many beer. Let me look at a beautiful face.
Exactly.
You know, we're already going through a lot in this country.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was just turned like just two beer.
Oh my God.
Why do you think I'm extra excited this morning? I even want management. The fact that you're on the show today, they should make it a 5-hour show.
My God. I will leave you after 3.
Or when you are done, you just say, possibly, maybe Olive, just relax. Stay where you are.
You work so hard.
You work so hard. Stay there, for 1 year.
If Olive is watching this, she won't forgive us. Bro, we are not loyal.
Please come back. They miss you. I'm just
Anyway, welcome.
Great to have you join us.
Good to have you. A lot has been happening in the past 24 hours, especially right from yesterday when we left the show. So many stories came up. We do hear that actor Emeka Ike has sued the INEC as well as the special advisor to the FCT minister as well. We do hear that he's suing them for 10 billion naira in damages. And many have said that's a welcome
That's a step in the right direction.
That's a good step in the right direction because it's been more than almost 2 weeks as we count, and no formal information from the DSS as regards the report. I mean, if you're doing a forensic report, how long will it take? You said it was an insider. So from the insider, you should have concluded your report between then and now.
Yeah, and if you recall, you can recall the speed at which the DSS acted after the former FCT minister, former Kaduna State governor,
as well,
Nasir El-Rufai, after a TV interview, said, yes, we do tap phone lines, we tap the NSAs. Yes, so this is also, it's a serious breach of privacy, and I mean, it has national implications for INEC. So,
well, it's Nigeria. Let's give them 9 months. 9 months is enough time to give
9 months before election. No, after election.
Because if they're not answering us, then what do we expect? It's always like that. There's always a loophole, communication issue, communication gap, and then they'll come up with one story, I'm sure, now that, they're being sued for 10 billion.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, it's almost like a slam dunk because the information is out there in the open, back-end information, places that should be restricted ordinarily, and then you put someone's very private information out there. I'm not sure. I'll go and do a forensic search and see if the gentleman in question has deleted, as finally, because it was very brazen. He left it there. Do your worst.
And nothing will happen.
Yes, I have.
I have
your
backing.
godfathers, exactly.
Yeah, it's quite sad that most of us have not learnt about what they call the retention, what I like to call the retention of power. There's a time in which you can hold on to power for so long, and when it leaves you, then you understand what it really means. But then again, that's an update on that story. We're still going to call on INEC, like we promised we would do here on this show every now and then, INEC was still waiting for the forensic update on the INEC chairman, as well as this one concerning the actor. I think he was also waiting for them, but he said, I wait no more, and took INEC and, of course, the SSA to the FCT minister to court. He's seeking 10 billion naira in damages, and the suit marked FHC ABJ CS 1272-2026 was filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday, just yesterday. But let's move on now and go straight to our wake-up conversations this morning. Let's tell you that troops of the Nigerian Army have rescued Hajiya Amina Abubakar, widow of late Major General Rabi Abubakar, after a fierce offensive operation, we hear, in Katsina State. The general, abducted alongside his wife on May 30, tragically died in captivity. We talked about it here yesterday, while Mrs. Abubakar was injured but given immediate medical care following her rescue. A delegation from the Defense Headquarters, DHQ, had assured the family of the late Major General Rabi Abubakar, retired earlier yesterday, that security agencies will pursue those responsible for his following the visit. The Defense Headquarters launched a major offensive, we hear, called Operation Clean Sweep 3 in Katsina, that has led to the rescue of the late general's widow. Now, while the military was embarking on its own clean sweep mission, the police and FCT also dismantled some of the terrorist camps discovered in the nation's capital. But the picture you find on the screen, that is the wife of the late, now late, former general's wife, when she was rescued. Nigerians have so many questions regarding this. I don't know. I'm going to throw it open to you guys first before we see what Nigerians are saying. Queen, you want to jump on this one?
Well, you know, this abduction was very concerning, you know, and then what they were asking for were their cattle and their fellow brothers in whatever they are doing, insurgency or bandits. So we have two stories. He died from sickness or he died from a snake bite. We don't know which.
Absolutely.
How did they get his body to bury? Excuse me. How did they find the wife? So did they abandon the wife right on the street for them to pick them up? Who are the bandits? Did they encounter the bandits? So it's not... There are a lot of missing connections there. It's quite confusing. So did they adhere to the requirements of, you know, the bandits? Did they give them their cattle? Did they give them the people they asked for? Because, you know, I really don't know. It's quite confusing. Gbenga.
Yeah, so Defense Headquarters released a statement, and that statement, well, journalists, is still inadequate. It didn't answer these questions you're asking, and Nigerians will want to have a clear picture of the situation, clear in the sense that as long as you're not revealing sensitive information that might hamper the ongoing operation against the terrorists. And there's still so many questions to be answered. And we're not asking questions for the sake of asking questions. We're asking questions so we understand the type of enemies we're dealing with, so that we understand government's efforts towards reading this this terrorism hydra-headed monster. Because was a ransom paid if you said you engaged them in a fierce battle? What's the death toll for the terrorist? And also, because in the videos we saw of General Rabi Abubakar in captivity, he wasn't alone with his wife. There were other captives there. Were they released? What's the information on them? Did you capture any of these terrorists? Will they be negotiated? How many were neutralized? And all of that. So these are questions that are begging for answers. It's not just to release a vague or general DHQ statement. It would be nice if all those questions are answered. And, you know, it's really sad that Nigeria has lost another general, and I wish this wasn't coming after he lost his life. But, I mean, we can't give up to insurgents and terrorist elements, as Mr. President has said. But I feel this is the time to take the fight to them and stop treating it with kids' gloves.
It's quite sad. I mean, both of you, you've highlighted very key questions that Nigerians are asking. Questions like, one, how did they retrieve his body? I was reading through Premium Times newspaper, and they did an explainer explaining how they got his body. just to shorten everything, Premium Times said that they spoke to a security agent in anonymity. And he said that the kidnappers, or better still, the bandits, terrorists, had taken his body and dropped it somewhere and communicated with, the security agents, rather his family, and said, come to this place and pick up his body. That's what Premium Times said. If you have time, you could fact check that as well. It's actually from the Premium Times, but we're trying to juxtapose it with what the DHQ has said. And they said, we've dropped his body, but make sure when you're coming, don't come with security agents. That's what the person who claimed that anonymity said. And said they came, and then, of course, the family came, and then they picked up the body. That's how they were able to retrieve or get his body. However, Defense Headquarters in the release, as we speak now, said there was a fierce battle, as it were, with the insurgents, with the terrorists, and they were able to now rescue the wife. And, we're trying to see how that may have happened. Nobody died. There's no statement of bodies or whoever lost their lives, either from the side of the military or from the side of the terrorists, nothing. But how did that battle ensue? The bullets were flying, shooting, and the woman was eventually rescued. Gbenga now asked a very key question, which before I slept yesterday night, I asked. In a video, we saw that there were other people there. So where are they?
What's the fate of those other people?
Where are they? That's another question. I'm just going to run through. When the United States unalived the Libyan, powerhouse, talking about Gaddafi, the United States released a detailed information. I'm going to read through it just a little bit. It said, in a formal address from the White House, Rose Garden, President Obama stated Gaddafi's death. He said he described it as a momentous day. He went on to describe it as the following. He said Muammar Gaddafi was killed on October 20, 2011 after NATO airstrike hit his fleeing convoy in Sirte, forcing him to hide in a drainage pipe where he was captured and fatally unalived by Libyan rebels. They broke it down. If you go through the detail, they explained the location, the area. We're not asking for much. While we applaud the Nigerian military, we're just saying, or the security agents, we're just saying there's too much conflicting stories going around. Can we just have one that is well detailed so that even we as journalists, it can help us to pass out the information to the public and everybody can be well and fine?
Absolutely, because when you come up with a statement, you leave more questions than answers. That with a vague and inadequate statement, you leave more questions asked than answers. But I believe we have the statement from Defense Headquarters.
Yeah, we do that.
Let's have a look at it before we take
we'll
what
try as much
Nigerians
as possible to see if we can get that up while our producers work on that. But let's see. Yeah. But let's get to see what Nigerians are saying, and then we'll see how Nigerians are reacting to this story, and then we'll get that reaction as well. We have a lot of comments on YouTube. Let me start off with YouTube first. Saints, Mrs. Johnson says, good morning, Breakfast Central. Good morning to you. Olive, our breakfast queen, please come back quick with your beautiful energy. Olive is resting. She will not come back now. Let her rest. We have Queen. We are fine. Queen is here to stay.
Says Olive, our breakfast queen. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Breakfast
what am
queen.
I?
There's Queen here. What are
A
you?
real queen.
This is the real Queen.
You guys should leave me.
Anyway, is it Islamically right for the army man to pit the head of a late general's wife on his laps? Where are the abductors? Why weren't they arrested or decimated? How do you rescue with apprehending? That's your question. That first question, I don't think that's a question we can answer, Michael Zeus. But let's take another comment very quickly. Her husband died miraculously. There was a rescue. So they waited for the husband to die before they rescued her. There was a fierce fight, but no bandit was killed. Do you guys really believe this? That's what someone is asking. Nejsan says. Another question. So let's get this right. The army went into the bush to rescue General's wife after General already died. How did they locate their hideout? Why was it difficult to locate when the General was alive? He says, still alive. So many questions to be answered. And this action of a cry after the head has been cut off will continue to make people like me confused sometimes about what is going on in our country.
It's a clear case of medicine after death. And when you release statements, like I said again, people will continue to doubt the veracity of that statement if you leave a lot of questions unanswered, and that's what's happening. It's just human logic. You need to cover all ends, and I'm sure a lot of this DHQ spokespersons and the Information Directorate have attended, a lot of them are members of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, so they should understand the standard.
I think we now have the press release by the, DHQ Nigeria. Let me see if I can read. Troops of the Nigerian Army, with the support of the Nigerian Air Force, have successfully rescued Mrs. Amina Abubakar, wife of the late Major General Rabi Abubakar and former Director Defense, abducted by bandits alongside her husband a few weeks ago. Now, the rescue operation followed intensified search and rescue efforts conducted by troops of Operation Fasanyama during sustained offensive operations and pressure mounted on the criminal elements. Troops made contact with the bandits at Tonga village, leading to the successful recovery of Mrs. Abubakar. I can't read everything, but like Joe, you gave us a detail of how America explained how they, caught someone.
Their explanation is they made contact.
Yes.
So just leave it like that.
It's a phone call.
Let's look at that line. Maybe let's
yes.
It says, in the course of the encounter, the bandits shot Mrs. Abubakar before abandoning her and fleeing due to the overwhelming pressure from advancing troops.
So if it was overwhelming, they didn't kill anybody. They only shot the victim who was supposed to be rescued.
Yes, not one arrest was made.
It's giving Hollywood and Nollywood, or Hollywood and Bollywood.
And then it says Mrs. Abubakar was immediately evacuated and is currently receiving medical. The leadership of the armed forces, troops will be, I'm just looking at it generally. I was expecting that maybe to contain the other information of the other people.
Yes.
The other details.
Oh, yes.
It is confusing. They made a contact to come pick up the general's body. Other people that died when they were kidnapped, did they call to say, okay, they've died in our hands, come and take them to bury? So why is this special? Why was his body returned? And why, was there a fierce, operation to just find one person? What happened to the rest?
It's a big problem.
Questions. Yes.
Let's go to X. Let's see what Nigerians are saying about this story. It's a sad one, I must mention. And we also hear that in the same Katsina, terrorists have given them conditions to continue to live. Some are they're asking for huge sums. But anyway, Richard Ode says, good job. This is how it should be. But don't forget the ordinary people who have been kidnapped too. We're talking about those in Oyo and those who have also been kidnapped. That's what Richard Ode says. Yes, we applaud the tenacity. We're just asking for more details so we can understand.
Good job, and then it would have been nice if this happened before the general had died. So let's be proactive.
DHU, if the government has been going hard on these bandits, we would have gotten rid of them. Go hard on them. That's what Oak of the Street says. And let's see, we have another tweet very quickly.
Go hard on them in the same week when many of them have been radicalized.
706 of them. Dr. F. Young John says, you waited for the general to be killed before mounting an offensive? Quite sad, that's what he says. These are the views of a cross-section of Nigerians regarding this story. This is how they're reacting. Let's see, we'll have another tweet very quickly to take. Do you guys know that you can take them out using drones? They shouldn't be allowed to flee, Blaze says. And that's what I think, Queen, you've highlighted as well as being that, okay, after everything, any casualties? No. T says, DHU should have rescued the late Major General before his demise. I hope his wife survives the trauma that she suffered in the hands of those evil bandits, a.k.a. terrorists. That's what T says.
And then if she was shot, I mean, I'm not doubting it, I'm just asking questions. The picture we saw, it didn't show any sense of urgency that someone is in an emergency situation, you still have time for all of this.
That's why they gave her a pillow.
Gbenga, that's a lot. But let's move on now to another story here on Wake Up Conversations while we wait for more updates from the DHQ, and hopefully there will be a presser so Nigerians can actually listen to the details. I know. There's so many to have a press release on and to talk about. That's because they're becoming plenty.
It should be preventive too. People shouldn't get to kidnap innocent Nigerians, and then we start talking about rescue operations and all of that. This should be discouraged. We shouldn't have incidents of this. I grew up in Nigeria where kidnapping was foreign to us, and but this is looking like the new normal, which is quite unfortunate. But let's move on to other matters. Governor Charles Soludo Agunechemba Vigilante group is once again in the spotlight, and this time for disturbing videos showing operatives attacking residents with machetes. The footage, which has gone viral, captures, I beg your pardon, armed vigilantes storming a local residence and assaulting occupants. This incident has sparked outrage, with many questioning the accountability of community security outfits in the state. Agunechemba, also known as Operation Udogachi, was launched in January 2025 to combat insecurity, kidnappings, and court-related violence. It was meant to combine local intelligence with modern technology to restore peace. However, since its inception, the group has been repeatedly accused of brutality and extortion.
I don't like watching videos like this.
Everybody bring the boat. One back there, one back there. You can have an investigation. Come back.
Everybody. Na new pass.
We sincerely apologize for not giving you full knowledge of the graphic nature of that video you just saw. Disturbing indeed, regardless of what they've been accused of doing. There are processes to handling situations like this. And it also questions, I mean, this sort of things have also been led to questions about the
State police.
About state policing and its propensity to be exposed to abuse. We've seen Amotekun in the southwest engage in cutting people's dreadlocks. That's not why you were created. And if you're going to effect an arrest, there are global standards and practices, not using machetes. Because as far as the Nigerian Constitution is concerned, you're innocent until proven otherwise in a competent court of law.
You know, every time we come here in the morning and talk about issues bordering on Nigeria as Nigerians, I ask myself sometimes while sitting here that, are we improving or are we retrogressing? Are we becoming better off when our parents, during the 1960s, 50s, 70s, education was there, you could travel abroad, you get a scholarship, the streets were clean, people were more insane, sanity was the order of the day, security agents viewed it as an occupation that you would do. You were proud.
With pride.
You were proud. And this, Gbenga, this takes us back to the guest we had yesterday, former Commissioner of Lagos State Police, Mr. Fatai.
Oh, sure.
He said the agents, the so-called police are not receiving training.
Yeah.
Now, this is a paramilitary arm that is meant to guard the state and help
Community
reduce
police, yes.
insecurity as community policing, using machete to beat people and saying, surrender your phone, bring your phone. And this is this. Queen.
Joe, the funniest part is I'm a product of, you know, a police officer. So I understand when you say things are not the same it used to be. So growing up, my father would tell us what you can do and what you cannot do. Why should a policeman stop you? The first thing you say, make sure you have all your papers. A police officer doesn't have any right to stop you to ask for your papers. Those little things. And, you know, we grew up in barracks. this aggressiveness I'm seeing is not what a police officer is supposed to be doing to a human being. Now, comparing to the bandits that were now our brothers, they've sworn with the Quran, and I did not see anybody beating them. They've given them the Quran to, come back into the community and leave, non-kinetic, approach. So where is it when you are trying to arrest people? Where is that sympathy?
But in fairness to men of the Nigerian police force, I mean, they've also been accused of extrajudicial killings and also human rights abuses. This is a paramilitary community policing. They're not part of the formal Nigerian police structures. Yeah, they're vigilantes. So,
but who
question:
do they answer
how
to?
do you? Yeah,
who do they answer to?
They probably answer to the state government. Probably their internal affairs ministry, but Governor Soludo and Anambra State government. Yes, Anambra State government. Yeah, they have a lot of questions to ask us to the recruiting process, training, human rights program for them.
Machete, Gbenga. Aye.
And then Agunechemba and civilian relations, the processes and all of that.
Do you think those guys?
It's not the first time.
These guys.
It's not the first time.
Do you know that these guys attacked a student? Remember the girl they attacked, Agunechemba, that they stripped her off?
Yes.
We've not heard
the last of it.
The last of that story. They said they would get those guys, they would lock them up. We have not heard anything. And here we are, another video surfacing.
Maybe if they are this aggressive, they should move them to.
They should go to the north.
But then again,
the forest now.
Then again, Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, some Nigerians are still sympathetic and they don't think there's a big deal in what they did. They say, oh, there's so much criminality in the land.
Until it gets to them.
Lessons.
Until it gets to their brother.
All you human writers, what are you saying?
I think
what are they doing in the bush in the first place?
I think I need to do a special. We need to do a special here. Nigerians, we have, whether you like it or not, even you watching, even us here, we have been abused mentally.
I agree.
I'm being honest.
Psychologically,
we are not thinking normally again as humans.
I agree.
I tell you, if this happened on the road, there's a chance, or there are clear chances that out of 10 Nigerians that will pass, only one will stop and say, no, stop it, don't do that.
I don't think
the rest will say, okay, they are beating, so now, no mind them. Even out of that 9, 3 will say, give them where? Give them. That is how warped our senses have become.
We're gone.
They are killing people. Yesterday, they attacked, where did they go to again? Bandits, 30 people died yesterday again, killed. Stories there, all people just, they move on.
Even from the video when they were shouting, bring your phones. So what did these people do? What did they commit? Are they, the yao, because anytime they talk about your phone, that's the next thing. But we've had people say when they encounter either vigilantes, police officers, the next thing is to take, do a transfer. And then their money is gone. So you don't have to be aggressive, even if they did something wrong. Take them to the right place. Take them to the police station. Take them where they're supposed to go.
Exactly.
And not treat them like animals or cattle.
Investigation.
It's sad.
But let's see what Nigerians are saying. Patrick says, small power we didn't give them. This vigilante don't they misuse her. No, power corrupts. Can we see the next one? John Kells says, what is going on in Anambra? For God's sake.
Good question.
Very, very good question.
And Mr. Brume says, this is the police that will later spoil your tenure for Nigerian police. The Inspector General of Police should do something about this. This is not how other countries operate. Try and train your men, please. Nigeria is too insecure for this. Well, this is not men of the Nigerian police, it's men of the...
But I want to believe that they work in tandem.
Outfit. Yes.
Exactly.
I want to believe that no paramilitary can work without...
they can't work in isolation.
Yes, without being overseen by the police architecture.
Yes.
Because the police architecture is responsible for security, securing local government areas. So if they're going to launch a new paramilitary arm, to say, okay, just like you have Amotekun in the southwest, you have others, the police need to be aware of their processes and how they operate.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that, whether you like it or not, you cannot take away the police from what we just saw.
Yes.
The police needs to jump in to say, listen, we also have the responsibility to guard the community and to protect citizens' lives and property. If you are going to work in tandem with us, then this is not the modus operandi. Therefore, those men who were involved in this, good enough, one of them has a fractured leg, so you can easily identify him. There's no way you will catch it. You will say, no be me, Oga, the way you are hopping, we know this leg. So he can easily be captured. And then when you have them, put them in public. Nigerians know that, okay, we've arranged these guys, we hereby deregister them from this. So I'm expecting Anambra State governor. I mean, he's a sound person, very sound.
Or the commissioner.
Or the commissioner as well. This story should get to him, and the commissioner should do something. Let residents know that, listen, you are there to prove, even if you hear that there's a crime, you want to carry out an investigation, there's a way to arrest people now.
Right. Now that you said deregister, there's a story where a federal high court in Abuja has ordered INEC to deregister the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and 4 other political parties, Accord, Action Alliance, Action People's Party, and Zenith Labour Party, for failing to secure the constitutional requirement of 25% of votes in the last general elections. Now, according to the law, any party that cannot achieve this spread loses its right to remain registered. Justice Peter Lifu, while delivering his ruling, ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to deregister 5 political parties, and also ruled that these parties cannot participate in future elections, including the 2027 polls. Reactions to the judgment have been swift, as Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is the ADC's presidential candidate for 2027, condemned the ruling, accusing President Bola Tinubu of orchestrating the move to weaken the opposition, especially with observers saying the move to deregister the ADC could be a move aimed at, denying the former vice president a chance at being on the ballot in the 2027 elections. Joe, say something.
Drama. Gbenga.
I mean, I didn't see this coming. It was very unexpected because of the timing. And this is the 11th hour. It's almost 10 minutes to midnight, and then this happens.
Cinderella
it has far-reaching
lost her
implications, but I don't want us to panic yet, because this part is, it's not over until it gets to the Supreme Court. And timing in the sense that they've done the primaries, they've nominated candidates to seek elective position. A lot of money, time and efforts have gone into this, and then you're deregistering. And then after 2023 elections, immediately after, didn't INEC know that they didn't meet the 25% threshold of votes and other reasons that Justice Lifu has given? Why is it coming now? It's really unfair. They say justice should have equity and fairness.
Right.
I don't see any sense of justice in this, but what do I know?
Well, you're saying we should wait till it gets to Supreme Court, but this is a situation where they're already saying...
I mean, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and all those involved.
But there's already a court case, though.
Exactly.
There's a court injunction already in Uweri or so that says INEC does not have the right to deregister. But good enough, we're going to have a guest from the ADC, spokesperson, join us this morning. Let's get more clarity as regards. It's quite surprising. I mean, the documents are online. They're flying online as well. Everyone is talking about it, that how is it possible this would happen now, and so on and so forth. Even the ADC, they put out a statement. They're like, their statement is very, very thick in terms of their resolve. They're saying, don't try this. They're talking to INEC, don't try it. Indirectly, they're saying, you don't want to go this route. And every other person is wondering, why are you going this route? Governor Adeleke, who moved to Accord.
From the PDP to avoid this sort of situation. And he's been nominated as governor. There are elections in a few
And guess what? The
months,
PDP is not part of the parties because...
Yes. It's quite shocking, to say the least. And there are far-reaching implications for Nigeria's democracy. It's not even funny, because it has a potential to cause a lot of disunity in the land, and people are questioning the effectiveness of our democracy. That is this truly a democracy if people if you can go to the courts and, manipulate things, or the judiciary is not reading the room and the atmosphere in the country to come up with this sort of ruling. But we'll let the experts speak on this, the analysts and also the lawyers, to see, to take a deep dive into the implications and what he has for us. But let's hear what Nigerians are saying. So Festus Ogun, who happens to be a lawyer, says last month the Court of Appeal had earlier stayed proceedings of the Federal High Court presided by Justice Peter Lifu, pending hearing and determination of an interlocutory appeal filed by a court party in the same matter. The Court of Appeal adjourned the hearing of the appeal to October 27, 2026. All parties to the appeal, including their lawyers, and indeed the trial judge, were aware of the valid order of the court. Today, my noble Lord, Honorable Justice Peter Lifu, delivered judgment in the same case, which essentially deregistered some political parties, despite the clear order of the Superior Court for the lower court to stay all proceedings, including hearing judgment pending the outcome of the appeal. Unprecedented. If you ask me, it begs the question, what becomes of a court party's appeal pending before the Court of Appeal? What is the fate of the order for stay pending appeal granted by the intermediate court?
Very, very key.
Very valid
and he highlights everything there. Yeah. Let's see if we have another comment on this particular case. We have Real Everbest. It says, a few hours ago, a federal court sitting in Abuja orders the Nigerian Independent Electoral Commission to deregister ADC, thus confirming what was already known on the street. The APC-led government does not want opposition. This judgment is a testament to that assertion. People are now talking. Fingers are now being pointed. That's what he says. We have another tweet very quickly. Premier says, the wait and get judgment from Justice Lifu to disqualify major opposition party, ADC, and others is at best a joke taken too far. How can the Federal High Court give a judgment that has already been handled by the appeal court? Nigerians should ignore. This judgment again shows the ruling party is scared of a free and fair contest. All the parties they disqualified with the wait and get judgment will be on the ballot.
I mean, you don't have to be a lawyer. From a commonsensical perspective, the Court of Appeal
Supreme Court said go back.
And then you just came out and said, no, okay, this is I deregister. It's almost like, oh, you don't have, there's a rule book. They're guided by the Constitution.
Right.
And the Nigerian Judicial Council really needs to step in.
Oh, wait, let's not forget, it was the National Forum of former legislators that sued INEC for not deregistering them. But now somehow we've removed their name. It's just INEC that's just in the picture. So it's not INEC that brought them up, it's the NFFL.
How about the justice that passed this sort of judgment?
He's been, he's been very popular lately with his rulings.
and it's getting a lot of persons worried and talking that, why is it that you can predict what will always happen? And this one is I mean, I'm happy we're going to have a lawyer on the show, because I really want to ask some strong questions this morning.
Yes.
Questions like,
and Nigerians need to understand
what is going
and be
on?
informed about what is really going on.
Yeah, what is really going on? We don't understand. If the Supreme Court says, listen, I'm not going to attend to this case, go back. And then you go back, the appeal court takes it up and says, okay, fine, let's stay on this case. Let's move it till October while we look at it.
Exactly.
Not even
Everybody
finished.
maintain your status quo.
All of a sudden, bam, okay, hey, you're all deregistered. How now? Anyway, let's move. That's what we're going to bring on Wake Up Conversations. We can see your comments. Let me take quickly just two. The duo of justice, someone says the duo of justice on Motosha and Lifu are the enemies of democracy in conjunction with the APC-led government. That's from Michael Obiko. Okay, that's how Michael feels. That's your thought. Joe, we are retrogressing. Value for human lives is gone. We don't have to sugarcoat it. So says Saint Johnson there. And then the same Abuja FHC owned by, he says, I'm not surprised at all. Well, that's it. Let's bring to you our top stories this morning on Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at what we'll be talking about this morning as we begin. This morning on Breakfast Central, Atiku slams INEC over ADC's deregistration. That's what we just touched on. And that's going to be a major conversation today. Meanwhile, ADC alleges plots to undermine the opposition. That's what they say. They warned the government agents of a plot to force the party's registration. And CJN charges new judges on integrity. Aha! We're going to talk about that as well, looking into the recent issues. Plus, Nigeria's inflation rate hits 15.93% in May. That's huge. We'll also look at the front pages of the newspapers where you can call in. Stay with us. This is Breakfast Central.
A fresh uncertainty has emerged over the political landscape ahead of the 2027 general elections, following a federal high court ruling directing the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to deregister the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and 4 other political parties. The court held that the parties failed to meet constitutional requirements for continued registration, a decision that could have significant implications for Nigeria's multi-party democracy.
And the ruling comes at a time of heightened political activity, with parties already positioning for key electoral contests, including the 2027 general elections and upcoming off-cycle governorship polls. Beyond the legal questions, the judgment has sparked a debate about the future of opposition politics, the threshold for party survival under Nigeria's electoral law, and what the decision could mean for political participation and voter choice going forward.
Well, joining us now is Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi. He's the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Thank you so much for joining us right on time. It's just, it's not up to 24 hours since news broke. Let me start off by saying the court's decision goes to the very existence of your party. That's what they say from the very start. What is the ADC's response, and are you confident that the judgment can be overturned on appeal, or does it even hold water? Does it stand?
Well, I mean, thank you very much. What we are faced with is a clear case of assault on democracy itself, because what constitutes democracy? A democracy is about the right to choose. That's the difference between democracy and any other form of government. People decide who should govern them. Now, what this government has persistently done, what the APC ruling party and the government has persistently done under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is to create a situation where people are left with no option or no choice, because they know what they have done with power in the last 3 years. So what you see yesterday was just the latest in the series of orchestrated assaults on opposition political parties, especially since the ADC coalition came on board. So we're a bit surprised by the development yesterday, and the reason we're surprised is that we did not expect, even as bad as things have gone with the judiciary, we did not expect that a judge, a federal high court judge, will so flagrantly disobey the order of a higher court that says that the proceedings should be stayed on this matter. So for us, it is very clear, whether in terms of the constitutional provision or requirement, or in terms of even the judicial process itself, we are confident that the process will not stand, that the ruling will not stand. We are on appeal this morning, and we are confident, we are absolutely confident that judicial rascality that happened yesterday will be brought to a halt immediately.
Now, Mr. Abdullahi, you've described, you rejected this ruling, and you insisted that the legal action against your party, ADC, was driven by political considerations rather than the law. Why do you say this, and do you have evidence to substantiate your claim?
I mean, it's obvious if you have followed this matter from the beginning. I mean, actually, it's one of the cases that we didn't take, we were not taking seriously, because we didn't think there was anything to be. A group of people calling themselves former legislative forum or whatever they call themselves, spearheaded by one individual in former House of Representatives who was in the office of the Chief of Staff to the President. They were the one championing this. The court will decide on the issue of whether this former legislative forum actually is a body recognized under the law and that has a locus to bring this kind of matter. The court will decide that. But what we are saying is that it is not in doubt where this is coming from. Then secondly, if we had any doubts or given the benefit of the doubt, you will also recall that the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, who incidentally was a second defendant in this matter, suddenly woke up about a month or so ago and became one of the plaintiffs. I mean, this is you see, these people are doing things that make Nigeria look like a joke, that make our democracy look like a joke. How can you be a defendant in the matter and then you suddenly wake up, you become a plaintiff, championing that other political parties should be deregistered, contrary to what the law and the Constitution says? It is very clear what are the requirements for a party to exist in Nigeria. It is clearly outlined in the Constitution, the section 225A that they are talking about. And INEC has come forward to say, look, as far as INEC is concerned, all the constitutional requirements, ADC has met it. All the electoral requirements, ADC has met it. Therefore, ADC is not one of the parties to be considered for deregistration. This is INEC, and INEC, if you recall, is the only body recognized or empowered by the Constitution to register or deregister political parties. So if INEC that has such power is saying, no, this doesn't make sense because ADC has met all the requirements and they are not in danger of being deregistered by any means. I mean, they won a couple of elections and they also qualified to be registered as a political party. We don't have problem with ADC. So where is this judge, this justice Lifu? Where is he getting what he's doing? Where is he deriving his authority from? Especially when a higher court has said same proceeding. So why is he doing this? So it is clearly political. It's not about justice. It's not about the judiciary. It's not about law. It is politics. And it is very clear. The timing is quite curious because we didn't know that kind of consequential ruling would be coming up yesterday. Otherwise, we would have been in court. I mean, they just smuggled it in. And we find it quite curious that it just came out of the blues just minutes after we announced the running mate to our presidential candidate. So now that gives us this is what we are discussing today, rather than discussing the progress that the party is making in that direction. So all these are clearly orchestrated, but we feel up to it. I mean, like I said, we are a party blessed in adversity. We are used to this by now. And we ride it. A couple of weeks ago, I was in your studio to discuss something else related to the existential threat that was again that the ADC was facing. No, we survived that. Now this is another one, and we'll survive it too.
So, Mr. Bolaji, you've mentioned that there have been series of assault in terms of, political behavior in this situation, and you've mentioned that this is just politically motivated. Now, my question is, we've seen a lot of insecurity in Nigeria. Would you say that this situation, in a decay in our justice, how do I explain this? Would you say that we're not focusing on other issues in Nigeria? We're having a lot of decay in different industries in Nigeria, that a federal high court is disobeying a higher court?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if you still have my picture. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, that's why we're saying that. What is at stake? Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust my camera.
No problem.
What I'm saying is that, you see, what is at stake is not just the opposition political parties or the African Democratic Congress. What is at stake is the very survival of of democratic institutions. And the bedrock of any democratic institution of this judiciary. Now, you find a situation where Nigeria, the majority of, since 1999 and up to now, you find the judiciary has played in our democratic commission. People now read alone and say good God, and they know going to the court. The courts, with what it means that the courts are not content to decide who the election. So people are no longer the ones that the election. People are no longer deciding who they want to lead. It's a court that are not deciding, taking power from the people and advocating on who will win the election or not. So they are even going on that now to decide which political party should exist or political party should not exist. And actually, there are historic reasons for this. It's only that we find individuals who call themselves champion of democracy, who were lying about the place that fought for UF. There are these people who are now creating a very different kind of situation that should be tried. Because you remember, you have started when some people went to court and they were asking for votes not to be announced, and then one justice at midnight, that was his Vasi appointment, sat and give judgment to Humphrey stop the announcement of the result. The same people who they go were honoring people who fought for June 12, and then people who are their Vasi appointment now. And if that's not hypocrisy, we don't wonder what is it. These people are desperate. They won't mind bringing country down with themselves. They won't mind bringing our democracy. And the judiciary is to be accomplished in the destruction of our democracy. I mean, I'm saying the entire judicial institution. But when you have individuals like this, giving kind of flagrantly disobeying the order of the High Court, and you've not had anything done in the Judicial Council, you know that any action is being taken with this kind of judges who have a reputation, like you have alluded to earlier. And what do you expect? What do you expect to do? So if not helpful, the judiciary will be the democracy in Nigeria.
All right.
Now, Mr. Black, what does this really do? How much of a setback is it? Because, like you rightly said, yesterday your vice presidential candidate was unveiled, and then you're facing this. And it's not just your first obstacle. You're coming from factionalization and all of that. Meanwhile, your focus is on the general election. So how much of a distraction is it to the party, and what does this do to party members and Nigeria and your supporters in general? What sort of effects does he have? And are you confident that your party will not be deregistered?
No, our party will not be deregistered. I mean, we are confident that this rascality will not stand. And ADC will contest the 2027 election. If there is going to be election in Nigeria in 2027, ADC will test the election. I don't think the people of Britain believe that they have any legal constitution platform to stand in the agenda they are pursuing. I think what they want to achieve is exactly what you are referring, which is to create doubt in the mind of people of the ability of the party brand, or to create panic of our candidates, so that they begin to question whether they actually have a platform for contestation. That's the kind of, but we are saying that we have told all our members, all our candidates, that they have absolutely nothing to worry about. And for us, not a distraction. Like you said, we've been at this from day one. I mean, we're a party that is used to this kind of thing, so we have learned to take it in our stride. We are now used to dealing with this kind of assault. So we are trying it. We are continuing. I mean, the way through the call of material protection before May 10, they thought we would not be able to meet it. We met it. To their shock, we were able to meet that deadline. Then they thought that, there will be anarchy and chaos. We will not be able to decide who our presidential candidate will be because we are going to only do consensus or direct primaries. We didn't succeed at consensus. We went for direct primaries, and we are proud today to say that we are the only party who actually conducted primaries across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. So we are used to this kind of distraction, this kind of thing, but it's not going to bother us at all. We are in court this morning, and everyone believes that on the side of Nigerian people, it's just the ADC. There are 4 political parties implicated, and we hope that other political parties will also understand what it takes, and that what is happening is an party democracy in Nigeria, and must not be allowed to stand. And that's why we said what they're doing with this Because when you have who are there by candidate across the street to contest election, then you only unprecedented recklessness to say the party of the Abemanja candidate is greater, has ever done something if not in banana report. And that's why I say President Bola who appeared to learning copiously from the President of Benin Republic. So when he was putting that we thought, okay, the President of the Republic is President Bola Tinubu's son, but I realized President Bola Tinubu is actually his student, learning from him. But Nigerians will show him that this is not Benin Republic. Like this will not stand.
Now, just following up, you said you're in court this morning. On what case and what's the ADC's next steps?
No, on appeal. Appeal this particular so-called judgment, yeah.
All right. Let me just ask as we look to wrap up this conversation. Now that this is happening, you had picked former River State governor as a running mate to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Would you say that this also has any inference to what is happening as well? And secondly, what will take place, especially the fact that should this pass, should this happen, that the ADC will not be on the ballot? We're just imagining what will be the next step, what will happen?
ADC be on the ballot. But I tell you that I've always prayed for the woman we are hoping the best. We don't see the direction we're in. So we are not going to begin to congratulate ourselves and be saying, no, we're very clear about the direction that it's going, and it can only have one outcome. So for us, we are not tired, we are not bothered, we are not intimidated. Like I said, we are ADC. I mean, by now we know what to do from character. I mean, you have run the corner ground, and the inflation is through the roof. I mean, the general died in kidnappers, then children are still in captivity, and you have time destabilizing opposition. See this later. You have all the guns with you, you have everything. You say you are now guard, you are the governor, and yet you are making and trying to disposition political parties. I mean, and I wonder whether I understand that they are discrediting the country. They are defaming the country to what they are doing. Because I was journalists come yesterday, I was back when some of these things, even while we are having conversation, that how can this kind of thing happen? So for us, we are not. We will continue to do what we are doing. We have picked excellent Rotimi Amechi as the running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. We move on preparing for the 2021 election. We are not. We attempt this scenario where ADC will not contest the 2027 election, because it will have grave implication for the country and grave implication for democracy. It's not going to.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for speaking with us, Abdullahi. We'll wait and see what will come out of this particular situation. And we'll also wait to hear if INEC would put out a statement, debunking or going ahead with the directive. But thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Always later. Thank you.
All right. So there we have it. Conversation that will continue to be in the news up until we get clarity as regards what's going on.
And an unnecessary distraction, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, the essence of political parties is to contest elections. So if you have a problem with the opposition, you should have debates. You should speak about policies. Let's argue about policies and issues like that and test our popularity at the ballot. But all this scheming, and then I wonder what the principle is behind the individuals that even carried out, that took this case to court for deregistration. We have bigger issues as a country. But like Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi said, he said they will appeal this. So it's just at once in one. We wait and see how this plays out.
Anyway, let's move on to our next story very quickly. Still staying with the judiciary, let's tell you that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, has tasked newly appointed judges to uphold integrity, resist corruption, and demonstrate punctuality in the discharge of their judicial responsibilities. Justice Kekereekun gave the charge at the opening ceremony of the induction course for newly appointed judges of Superior Courts of Record, saying that judicial independence can only be sustained through discipline, impartiality, and adherence to ethical standards. Also speaking, the administrator of the National Judicial Institute, Justice Babatunde Adejumo, encouraged the newly appointed judges to regard their transition from their previous careers to the bench as a call to national service and a responsibility that demands dedication and commitment. Take a look.
As you have started now, you ensure that you don't allow yourselves to be compromised in any way, shape, or form. You are judicial officers because you merit it, not because somebody put you there. So somebody coming to you to say, oh, this is my situation and so on, you tell them politely, I will deal with the matter as it is before me. And what I used to do, if you say you want to see me, come with counsel on the other side.
The transition from legal practice, academia, public service, or other professional engagements to judicial office is one of the most significant transformations within the legal sphere. While your lordship's prior knowledge and experience provide a strong foundation as you progress on, you will realize that the responsibility of a judge demand an integrity different from perspective. Indeed, you require an independent of you to play.
And the House of Representatives has approved a 3-month extension for the implementation of the capital component of the 2025 Appropriation Act. The approval followed an emergency siting convened to consider a request from the executive seeking an extension of the June 30th, 2026 deadline for the execution of capital projects contained in the budget. The amendment bill followed an accelerated legislative process through all stages, with debates led by the majority leader of the House, Julius Ihonvere. Ihonvere says that the extension became necessary following delays during procurement and administrative bottlenecks affecting project implementation.
Because some aspects of the capital appropriation have not been fully implemented, and if we do not extend the life of this particular act, it will have very grave impact on the growth and development of the national economy. And for that, the purpose essentially is to extend the lifespan. We're not touching any internal parts of the act. It is just the lifespan from 30th June 2026 to 30th September 2026.
The House and Committee of Supply considered the report of a bill for an act to amend the Appropriation, Repeal and Enactment Act 2025 to extend the implementation of the capital aspect of the Appropriation Act 2025 from 30th June 2026 to 30th September 2026 and related matters, and in so doing, approved clauses 1, 2, and 3, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill.
All right, don't forget about the concurrent running of Nigeria's budget. Many have said it's actually causing a worry, and maybe it just might be the reason why we saw in that footage there a need to look into it. But then again, let's give you a quick recap of some of the biggest stories we've brought so far this hour. We've spoken to ADC. ADC warns government agents, just like you heard from the spokesperson, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, saying, do not try to deregister us come 2027 elections. That's one of the biggest stories that we've looked at as ADC alleges plot to undermine the position Let's take a look at another one that we've brought to you. Yes, judicial independence. You did hear from the CJN urging the newly appointed judges to be disciplined. And then reps approved 3-month extension to 2025 budgets. It's much more like a carryover and a carryover. Andres is talking about it. But let's see what's coming up next for the second hour here on Breakfast Central. Atiku Abubakar blast move to deregister ADC wants democracy under threat. Nigeria's inflation rate hits 15.93%. Yelwata attack 1 year after. We'll go back and see what's happening. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's talk about public urination. Yes, you know that. When you're pressed and you just need to use a restroom. Yes, you need to answer the call of nature. And they call it number what? That's number one.
One and two.
Number one.
But public urination is, it falls under number one.
Number one. And then you are
according
looking
to
for
my findings. Oh, Queen, am I...
Why you
do you agree with me?
I agree with you, except you...
Queen is a deep investigative journalist.
So according to your findings,
yeah,
what did you find?
According to our findings.
No, don't add me. Don't say our. No,
I'm with
your
you.
finding.
I'm with you. Except
okay, according to
you buy something and you eat on the road.
You were going somewhere.
Yes. Do we have enough toilets in Lagos to cater to the population or to the populace? That's question one. Two, are these toilets adequately taken care of?
Okay.
Three, is the federal government investing into public latrines to ensure that people don't just go around either doing number one or two? Don't take my word for it. I'd like you to ponder deeply on those questions. We have a reporter, Buku Daramola, who put this package together. Let's take a look.
From bus terminals and markets to major road corridors and under bridges, public urination remains a common sight across parts of Lagos. Residents say the practice contributes to environmental pollution, unpleasant odors, and public health concerns, while also affecting the image of the city. Although warning signs prohibiting public urination are publicly displayed in locations, compliance remains a challenge.
People really need to stop it because it's causing a lot of smells everywhere, and it's also affecting our health and everything.
In the early 2000s, mobile toilet facilities were a familiar feature in many parts of Lagos, providing commuters, traders, and other residents with convenient access to sanitation services. The facilities, deployed by private operators and through public-private partnerships, helped address gaps in access to basic sanitation infrastructure. Now, many residents say such facilities have become increasingly scarce over the years and overpriced.
The one we see in Lagos here, anywhere you enter, you must to pay. And normally before it was 15 naira, but now it's almost 200 naira.
Residents and sanitation advocates argued that expanding access to clean, affordable, and properly maintained toilet facilities is crucial to reducing open urination and improving urban hygiene.
It will be maintained with money. Parts will be replaced. People maintaining the toilets will be paid their salaries. So where will the government get the money? When we put these toilets, these facilities in place, the government should ensure that these facilities are well maintained.
I will employ the government to please put more public toilets around so that people will not be able to be messing up the streets and the road.
It is not a problem the government alone can tackle. It is everybody's problem. A lot of sensitization has gone forth, but it has given us little or no results. Why? Because enough provisions have not been made as regards toilets.
The warning signs are there. The sanitation laws are there. And yet, public urination continues around Lagos in broad daylight. As stakeholders debate solutions, residents insist that the responsibility of a clean city goes beyond the government and the sanitation providers. It boils down to you and I. In Lagos for News Central, Ibuku Daramola.
Very interesting question.
Well, you had asked the question.
You know, it's 2026. I mean, for a mega city like Lagos, we're talking about the off-camera, the amount of refuse that we're seeing around us. And this is another aspect of it. Do we have enough public toilets? And one of the respondents there said they used to pay 15 naira before, and now it's like 200 naira. To
inflation has hit.
And then inflationary pressures, cost of living, people will do the maths and say, okay, I'd rather just hold it. I need to develop a strong bladder when I get home. And for those that are not disciplined, they decide to answer the call of nature anywhere. And it's mostly men that are guilty of this offense. It's an offense.
Well, for
public defecation.
For me, I
in
think
Nigeria. I mean, in Lagos.
Gbenga, the truth is sometimes, yes, for men it's easy because, you know, number one is very easy, straight to the point. What about women? What about women that are probably in their circle and then they went to the market? And, you know, there's so many things. But for me, it's two things. It's discipline for citizens. They've not taught us. I think the system we had growing up has died. And then there's no planning in the country. There is nowhere in the world that has like a market that don't have a proper restroom. It's like going to the airport and then you have to go outside and pay 15 naira to use the restroom. Right. You're supposed to make provision for these things. Exactly. That lady saying, where would the government get money from? Excuse me. The money you get to do the bridges, you were not the one I was saying, excuse me, it was the lady I was referring to. Excuse me. The money, the budgets that you create to do so many things, it's planning. When they travel, they go to the hospitals there. What happened to fixing the hospital here? When you travel there in the malls, you can easily walk into, you know, any restroom and you're not feeling like, oh, I can smell this. Just go to the airport. Or the first thing that welcomes you is Aizal. I have nothing else.
And everything.
The smell.
It's worrisome.
I think there's also an opportunity for private investors to...
Gbenga, why must we wait?
Because, I mean, if the government is not doing anything, you look at where there's a problem and you're trying to solve a problem. At the same time, you're creating employment and value by, you know, keeping a clean environment and also encouraging people to use these public facilities. But the government has a lot of work to do. And also personal attitudes, like you mentioned. Human beings should not just, at the slightest inconvenience, just use... urinate in public or do number two. I mean, there are fines against it, and it's
do a short put.
Anyway, it's worth looking into this story.
And I can't wait for us to move away from the story.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of having my breakfast immediately.
Please, let's move. And we apologize for those who are watching us. But it just shows that we have something is lacking.
A lot.
In addition to that, Lagos State and debt. Remember a few months ago I said Lagos is dirty. As we speak now, it is becoming appalling. That's another story that would have to touch on this week.
And the sad reality is, I mean, just last week, there was a summit, Invest Lagos 3.0. You had the vice president, you had captains of industries, everybody talking, you know, fancy words, buzzwords about how Lagos is developing, the economy. And then the basic thing, cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. And just drive around Lagos and...
There's no godliness in there.
You'll find out. You'll find out for yourself.
You'll find out.
Yaba is now becoming a key point. People are pointing towards Yaba and saying...
Everywhere.
We're going to do a special on it tomorrow, so you might want to stick around. We're just highlighting it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Videos everywhere. We have our reporters on ground as well, so it's a conversation we might want to also look into.
Right.
Well, let's move on to another story very quickly. A year after the deadly attack on Yelwata community in Benue State, survivors say the struggle to rebuild their lives is far from over. While memorial activities are being held to honor those killed, many residents say trauma, displacement, and economic hardship still defines daily life in the community. Our correspondent, Suese Anyo, visited the community and shares this report.
A year ago, Yelwata was the site of a major attack that caused significant loss of lives and displaced hundreds of families. As the community marks the one-year anniversary, residents say the focus remains on the ongoing challenges of recovery and long-term security.
That is, I'm talking about the children. The children under 10 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, pregnant women were slaughtered, were killed on that day. And that was what happened on that day. Later, we find out that these people want to grab the land. They want to grab our own land. So the thing that happened that day, we feel that we cannot leave this land for any other person because our ancestors were buried here.
Many residents continue to face economic hardship as they work to restore their livelihoods. Community recently held a remembrance service attended by religious leaders and grieving families. This followed the unveiling of a memorial monument which bears the names of those who died during the attack.
This means so much to me. Marks a day that, first of all, we remember the very tragic incident that happened on the 13th of June last year. And then it also significant to me because on this day we look back and see what God can do. Appreciate Him for His kindness, for protecting us. So you can see a large number of crowd here. The day of the incidents, the following day, we never had this kind of crowd because there was nobody on ground. People had fled this community in fear, hoping that the community was entirely wiped out. But to the glory of God, today courageously, after the bishop prayed on this ground.
The Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Makurdi, Wilfred Anagbe, used the occasion to address the state of the community.
The sisters of the 276 slain victims and the survivors are eyewitnesses who are still living, gives us the powerful courage to celebrate this Holy Eucharist in honor and memory of our departed brethren. As Christians, St. Paul has encouraged us not to cry like the pagans because these brothers and sisters of ours are sleeping in the Lord.
The community of Yelwata remains focused on its recovery, looking towards a future where they can live and work without the threat of further violence. In Benue, for News Central, Sewese Anya.
Now on to another story. Fresh figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics show that the country's headline inflation rate rose to 15.93% in May 2026, up from 15.69% recorded in April. The increase marks the third consecutive monthly rise and underscores the continued pressure on household incomes and the cost of living. Food prices remain a major driver of inflation, with staples such as yam, beans, tomatoes, pepper, and other essential commodities recording significant increases. Rising energy costs and external economic shocks have also contributed to mounting price pressures.
Well, I'll tell you that while the latest figure remains considerably lower than the 26.06% recorded in May last year, many Nigerians continue to grapple with the realities of high transportation costs, expensive food items. I mean, take a look at a basket of tomatoes, which goes for about 170,000 naira now, and declining purchasing power as well. The development raises important questions about the effectiveness of current monetary and fiscal policies, the impact of global events on the domestic economy, and whether ordinary Nigerians can expect meaningful relief anytime soon. But joining us this morning to unpack the implications of the latest inflation figures and what they mean for businesses, households, and also you watching us this morning, Chief Economist at ARC Economic and Data Limited, Dr. Samson Simon, joins us this morning. Good to have you as we look into this latest update. Thanks for joining us, by the way.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Inflation is now in 3 consecutive months, it has risen. Should Nigerians be worried about this trend?
Well, of course, there is a cause for worry because even before the recent increases, inflation was not on target. Cost of living was reaching
crisis levels for majority of Nigerian households and even businesses. So now that the problem is getting worse, I think that is really fun. But it's not going to be dire perpetuity. We know what caused the recent hikes, what is happening in Central Asia, Americans and Israelis attacking the Iranians, right? And that has, so we can say the inflation is largely attributable to external shocks. But it seems like there's light, there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel with the agreement that is about to be signed between the Americans and the Iranians. So we hope this will be a thing of the past. But we have to be honest, we know how Donald Trump behaves, we know how the Iranians behave. So it's not yet the whole. Let's see how things play out. But we're hopeful that everything will return to what it was before the war in Iran.
Well, you said there's light at the end of the tunnel, but here in Nigeria, that we oftentimes defy Newton's law of gravity. All you need to do is just ask the Lagos downfall drivers, because Newton said what goes up must come down. But even after some of these adjustments due to external factors like this closing of the Strait of Hormuz, we still see that even when the pump price comes down, transport fare and other essentials remain the same. So how do we, how does the ordinary Nigerian, where lies the hope? And also knowing that next year is an election year and there will be more money in circulation. So is there any hope that this inflationary pressures would reduce?
Well, you know, these increases normally distort the price mechanism. So nobody is saying that should there be complete cessation of conflict in Iran or in the Middle East, that will not automatically make prices to come down. There is normally a lag. And even if prices try to go back to the levels that they were before the conflict, right? There will be distortions, right? There are certain things that when they increase, prices normally are downward sticky, like we see in economics, not just in physics, which is igniting. In economics, it's generally believed by some of the most authoritative economists that prices are downward sticky. But that doesn't mean that some things will come down, some things will improve, a lot of things will improve. And over time, we hope everything will ease, right? Because there is a lag normally between an action and then the result. So it's not automatically ease things for Nigerians. But we're hopeful if this ceasefire, the truce will hold and then nothing happens, the Strait of Hormuz is not closed again, and then there are no attacks whatsoever. We hope that things will return to normal, because this is not something within the control of the Nigerian state. What they can do is to mitigate these things. They don't control how the Americans behave with the Iranians or the Israelis. So it's completely outside our control. What we can just do is to make the most. The central bank has been embarking on aggressive monetary policy. Maybe the fiscal authorities need to meet them halfway, and we need to do something about our supply side. If that can be done, I think that will help us to a very large extent, and we shall see some relief. I'm not guaranteeing that things will go back to what they were before the conflict, but at least if the conflict ceases, a lot of things will improve over time.
Well, so while we're waiting for improvement over time, what should Nigerians do? What should they look out for? Should companies or employers find a way to increase incomes? Because it looks like incomes are the same, but expenses is going high. So what should they look out for in this period?
Well, when inflation spikes, when prices increase, there is always, these chips away at their purchasing power. So the real income of a Nigerian has actually come down because of this. I know how much I was spending on fuel to drive around town to go to work, and I know how much I am spending now. So technically, it has reduced the disposable income. Money that could have been used for other things, right, is now being spent on fuel. And if you look at, because of the increase in fuel price too, It has affected food prices and a lot of other things. It has this ripple effect that a lot of things. So cost of living is really getting very high, and it's very difficult for an average Nigerian to really cope within this economy. So what I would suggest is that you have to look for ways to make additional income, whether as a business or even as an individual, because for an average employer to increase his salary, it doesn't just happen overnight. So you on your own have to be innovative. You have to look for ways to augment your income. And then some things that are not really necessary, maybe you have to cut on those things. You have to find, it's just survival mechanism, just whether for a business or for an individual or for a household. You have to find a way to survive and see how you can limit the impact of this inflationary pressure on yourself or your business.
Now, Dr. Simon, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, recently advised Nigeria's government, because you're talking about inflationary pressures, how people's purchasing power has been eroded, how the cost of living crisis is affecting people, incomes have lost their value. And now the International Monetary Fund, which Nigeria runs to for money from time to time, has advised Nigeria, the federal government, to introduce telecom tax and also extend VAT to fuel products, saying the sector, saying that it's a solution for Nigeria's government to shore up its revenue. What do you make of this? Because the last time I checked, I didn't see IMF on Nigeria's ballot box. Nigerians did not vote for IMF to advise us. So should the government heed the IMF's advice? You're the professional here.
Well, the IMF normally is trying to recommend certain actions to be taken because maybe a particular economy is in trouble and they don't want that trouble to continue to perpetuate, right? And they don't want you to get into that trouble again. So normally they recommend all these things in a bid for these two things not to happen again, right? But if you look at it in terms of the well-being of the people, I know if you get into any nation that gets into a crisis like what we're seeing in Nigeria today, the citizens are affected. But their recommendations normally might not be people-friendly. Like look at the advice about subsidy removal. It might seem like a very good advice, and they've said, the IMF is on record as stating that the removal is yielding results. Yes, in some ways it's yielding results. If you look at the macroeconomic data, it seems to be yielding results. But if you look at the well-being of the people, it doesn't seem to really yield results. So they have a lot of recommendations like this, even increases in taxes. It might not be the right thing to do. Like you said, IMF is not on the ballot. So Tinubu would be on the ballot with the current president and the other officials, right? And even the opposition would be the one. So they know they should they should take into account the circumstances of Nigerians. And I don't think increase in taxes would be the right thing to do at the moment, because the way Nigerians are struggling, if you look at the cost of living crisis Nigerians are experiencing, people have demonstrated in other countries at half the level of inflation that Nigerians are now experiencing. So we have unlimited capacity to do things. And I don't think people should be pushed further by saying taxes should be increased on their consumption or even on their income. I think this might not be the appropriate time for that. And I don't think this current government will be unwise enough to start hiking taxes at this particular time that elections are fast approaching. So I don't think that's the good piece of advice for now. Maybe we may consider it down the line when things are better, right? But I don't think this is the right time for you to start increasing taxes or imposing new taxes on Nigerians because you want to increase revenue. There are other ways of increasing revenue, not only taxation, right? And I think we should be exploring such instead of hiking taxes for Nigerians, particularly VAT.
Okay, this is not the time you say, but what about borrowings? We've seen so much being borrowed. Nigerians are wondering, now the inflation rate has increased, it's gone up. We also have a federal government that has been borrowing. We also have situations where these borrowings, Nigerians are asking, why are you borrowing when you've been able to cut a subsidy? And so much. So how is it that we have an inflation, yet the federal government is still borrowing? How do you juxtapose that and explain to an average Nigerian that, well, the borrowings will not invariably affect the current situation we find ourselves in? How do we explain that?
Well, if you look at the increases, I know the federal government in particular is even guilty of accusing state governments that the allocation that normally comes to the states has increased. It has even exploded. And then the states cannot account for the money. But the same thing goes to the federal government too. Nominally, have really spiked. They have really increased. But in real terms, they haven't. The purchasing power is small, and people are really struggling to pay for. If you adjust these increases, all these the increased revenues that all the tiers of government are receiving, if you account for inflation, you account for exchange rate, you realize that in real terms, the revenues have not actually increased. And that's why everybody is even borrowing some more, right? And the borrowing, all governments around the world borrow. And I know that's what we always say when we're borrowing, and we say what really matters is what you use these borrowings for. But sadly, we have not really been using these borrowings well over the years. There is any exception to what is being done now, because if you borrow money and then these borrowings cannot pay for themselves, they cannot pay back the capital, they cannot pay the interest, then you're digging yourself into a hole. And sadly, I think that is what is being experienced in Nigeria at the moment. We need to do everything possible to ensure that these borrowings, these loans that we collect, are actually able to pay for themselves. If not, then we're just creating problems for ourselves down the line. We're just kicking the can down the road. And I don't think it's wise for us to continue doing that.
So, Mr. Simon, would you say that the inflation in Nigeria is becoming more than just an economic issue and increasingly a social and, political challenge?
Inflation has never been strictly economic in nature. It goes beyond economics. We know how it affects a lot of things. It doesn't only affect the economic aspects of life. It affects social aspects of life. It affects political and even cultural aspects of life. We're talking about cost of living. We're talking about quality of life. A lot of things are affected. And if all these things are affected, it completely overhaul the way you lead your life, the way you interact. It limits your capacity to get things done. So it's a lot of things, not just the economics of things for an individual, for a household, for a business, or even for the government. It affects a lot of things. And we're all feeling the pinch. It's biting hard, everybody. Whether you're well off or you're poor, it's affecting everybody. But it's far more worse for people, the masses, because for them, even to afford to feed is an issue. If you look at our food security, it is so terrible. Affordability is the worst on earth, right? Availability is one of the worst. So if you have been struggling to feed, it's not even going to be far worse. So for the downtrodden, it's really so terrible. It's so terrible. That's the sad situation. So everything will be affected, not only the economic aspects of life.
Now, Dr. Simon, as we begin to wind down on this conversation, the light at the end of the tunnel, you did mention the deal that will be signed in Geneva, Switzerland this Friday to mark the closure of hostilities between Iran and the United States and, of course, the reopening of the Straits of Hormuz. But that should help reduce some inflationary pressures to a certain extent. But bringing it back home, what low-hanging fruits can the government use to bring down inflationary pressures and, just to help Nigerians breathe?
Well, the government can do a lot of things. But I think two things that can be done quickly. Social safety nets. Some people will say social safety nets are not sustainable.
Social safety nets. Do you mean distribution of rice or semo, as some have started to also distribute?
It helps. Maybe not for you and I. We don't need semo and rice, right? But there are people living to feed is a huge problem, right? And giving them that rice, I think, helps. And the 25,000 they give 3 times to households, it may seem like nothing, right? But for those people, it be very important. Then what is really, I feel, a superior solution to this problem, the one that is more sustainable, is stimulating the supply side. Everything needs to be done to tackle insecurity, to ensure that Nigerians farm and we have enough food to go around for everybody. This one impacts everybody and is sustainable, and it is very important for the authorities to do something about it. I think these are the 2 things they can to help us breathe, like you say, to help the average Nigerian to breathe, right? Because the supply side is not about hiking interest rates by the central bank, but contractionary fiscal policy. These are long-term measures. If you ask me, what they can do quickly is to stimulate supply. I think that will go a long way in easing inflation.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's see what this inflation will yield eventually. Sometimes they would say it's going to go up, then it will come down again. But truly, we can feel the pains of Nigerians, including us. Even talking to you here from the studio, we know how much it is that we spend every day, talk less of week in, week out. But thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, Joe, talking about inflationary pressures, when I go to the disco these days, I used to order champagne.
When you say the disco.
I'm drinking malts. Barman just place one malt.
Wow.
So
do they sell malt at the disco?
It affects all of me. The kind of disco I go to.
Oh, wow.
It's a different disco.
I went from champagne to disco.
Wow.
To malt.
Inflation has affected
At least you're still doing malt.
I'm from bolognese to semo.
Wow. He said semo?
That's why I've hit the gym.
You know, everybody's
but Joe, it's not affecting you. Thank God you don't look like
everybody's watching their weights.
It doesn't look like what
everybody's watching their weights now. Everybody. What's going on?
It's how he said you and him don't need it. Other people.
How does he know?
I did it.
It's a grand assumption.
You're watching your weight.
But there's people like Queen that don't need it.
Do you need the 25,000 naira?
How can your name be Queen and then you are struggling for semo?
I would never struggle.
It doesn't all go.
Oh, the bell rang.
Yes, the bell of conscience. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the other stories. We have our correspondent who is looking to speak with us from France. So stay put. This is Breakfast Central. Thanks for staying with us. As leaders of the world's most powerful economies gather for another crucial day of discussions at the G7 summit in France, attention is turning to what emerged from overnight negotiations and whether leaders are moving closer to agreement on some of the most pressing global challenges, from trade and security to economic cooperation and geopolitical tensions. Today's agenda is expected to be dominated by high-stakes diplomacy, key bilateral meetings, and the possibility of draft communiques that could signal the direction of the summit's final outcomes. For the very latest from the ground, we're joined now by New Central Senior International Correspondent Emeka Ike, who joins us this morning. Bonjour. Once again, we could say bienvenue. How you doing, Emeka? Can you give us an update on what happened yesterday and what we're expecting today?
Good morning, bonjour. So I guess the top line from the summit today is that Ukraine and Iran seem to have moved to the center of the conversation. US President Trump arrived yesterday claiming momentum because of that ceasefire deal that has been or is going to be signed between the US and Iran. Now, Trump giving details that the deal is only going to be about a page and a half, suggesting that at the moment it's quite general and that most of the finer points of that deal will be hashed out later. But at the moment, it's about having a ceasefire in place and, very importantly, having the Strait of Hormuz open once again. That's very, very important to him. And he's also said that now attention can turn towards the Ukraine. Now, to that end, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has just arrived at the summit, is now having a bilateral meeting with the French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, France and the UK have been really instrumental in leading that coalition of the willing countries willing to back the Ukraine against Russia no matter what happens. So it'll be really interesting to see the lines that come out of that bilateral meeting between President Zelensky and President Macron, and perhaps if we will see a meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky later on in the day.
Now, Emeka, have leaders managed to find common ground on the most contentious issues facing the summit?
And that really is a key question, isn't it? When can all these countries ever found common ground? So I would say partially. I think everybody probably agrees that it's better to have a ceasefire in Iran, and it's definitely better to have the Strait of Hormuz opened. So I guess they found some common ground there. And then again, when it comes to the Ukraine, President Zelensky's presence here will force the leaders to turn their attention back to that conflict which has been ongoing for more than 3 years now. So I guess there is a common ground on that is a conversation that needs to come back to the fore. Yes, we have been focusing on what's been happening in West Asia and between Iran and the US, but also the common ground, I guess, would be that Ukraine needs to come back into the conversation. Look, how can we get to a point where there's a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia? So I guess on common ground, on those two issues, I guess the leaders have managed to find that. But it comes to wider issues. If we talk about artificial intelligence, if we talk about climate change, we know that the United States and perhaps the UK and France will have different issues. It's also worth noting that yesterday the UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer announced that ban on social media for under 16s from 2027. Now, the US have already expressed concerns about freedom of speech, so I think that's going to be a point of contention between the UK and the US.
So, Afia, this morning, I'm sure you've seen the delegates. What's their mood like this morning? Is there any sense that the progress being made yesterday is still on, or there's a sense that there might be a change?
I think there is a cautious sense of optimism this morning. Like I said, President Trump arrived with that sense of momentum, that deal that will be done between the US and Iran, and now attention turning towards the Ukraine. I think, yes, that is bringing a sense of optimism that perhaps leaders have come here ready to talk ceasefires and ready to do deals. So I would say cautious optimism this morning.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emeka. Again, we'll look forward to touch base with you again and get the latest reports coming from the G7 summit. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on now from one place, which is G7 in France. Let's move now to South Africa. I'm sure that if you are not aware, there seems to be counter-protests calling for foreigners who had been driven out of South Africa to return. And this counter-protest is also done by some South Africans too. Aside that, on the other side, we've also seen how South Africa's major xenophobic crisis has led to a disenfranchisement, if you put it that way, from the international stage, especially from the World Cup, where even though they're participating, you have lots of Africans not giving them full support. But aside from xenophobia, there's also issue of the economy in South Africa. So we'll take a look at all of this. We have our correspondent who's joining us now this morning as we speak. We have Bongani Siziba, who's joining us on another story. Particularly, let's start off with this one. Good morning, Bongani. Can you give us an update on what the story really is before we segue into a little tidbit from the xenophobic update?
There are women and children that are here, and this situation here has turned into humanitarian a crisis, if I may say. I saw a woman giving birth here, and yesterday 4 to 5 men were taken to hospital because of dehydration. There is no water, there is no food. But let me speak to Malawans who are here just to hear from them what exactly is happening here. Hello, my brother, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good. You've been here for how many days, and what's going on exactly? Has the Malawian government communicated to your people?
Oh, I was been here for maybe now it's 2 weeks staying here. But our situation is very bad. As you can see, other people is bathing here, and as you can see, we're not staying properly. There's a lot of people. Even the line when we're going to get a food, other people, they are not eating. Not because of there is not food, but because the line is too long, you see, as you can see. And as of now, I don't know why government, they don't need to help us. I don't know, there is waiting for us to die and then come to pick up our dead bodies. We don't know. Because there's a lot of people in Malawi that have got opportunities and have got a responsibility to help us. But they don't need to help us. Then they leave us to crying here and sleeping in this place. As you can see, now our situation is tough. You see? So, and as you can see, there's a lot of people that are doing much too much. They just say, you have to go, but there's not give us a time to get transport and do something that can help us to go our home. They just say, you have to go. So, where are we going to go? We don't have nothing. Where are we going to go? Huh?
So how many days have you not eaten?
As of now, it's 2 days. And the other people, there is not eating properly. We're not enough as the way we are eating, you see? Because as we like to eat papa, you see? It's like our favorite food. When we eat it, we're enough. But here, we not eat it.
So what's your message to the Malawian government if they are listening now?
Okay, my message is, government of Malawi, you have to help us. As quick as possible. Other people, they have a lot of money. You have to help us. As you can see, we are crying every day. You see, we are not eating nicely. And our stress is, those people that are help us, when they tired, what are we going to do? Other people is bathing there, here. You see? Other people is sick. As you can see, other people is get injured. You see? Because of something is happening here. Because we are a lot of people. So when you eat high population, something is happening every day. People are sick, other people is died, you see, as you can see. So we always crying about our government because we have responsibility to help us. You see, as a government, we are so tired. We are your people. You see, we are your people, and we are voting you also. You see, you have to show us love. You have to show us love. Here we are suffering. As you can see, there's a little baby. You see, other people have got a pregnant. What are you going to do? All the pregnant ladies here. Yeah, we are so sick and tired. What is happening? It's been long. It's been long. See? I heard some news, not the head. I saw one of the lady gave what? Yeah, gave birth to this place. You can see we are so crowded, so crowded. We are so thankful for those people who are giving us food. We are so thankful to them. We can't lie. We can't lie. But our message is that we need the government, our government, Malawian government. We don't know why it's taking so long. Why they are taking so long to come with the buses. It's been 3 weeks, I think.
When did the last bus come?
It came. It went yesterday morning, but it took so long. I think it came before yesterday, right? Yeah, it came before yesterday. But they process, we don't know what is happening. They're taking so long to process. Behind it was 7 buses. How can they took 2 days to what? 3 days. To deport them. 7 buses. I think we are over 10,000. I don't know. They're saying over 10,000 or 11,000. You see, overcrowded. You can see.
Yeah, you know, there's something I want to say now.
I look there. Okay, I say, all of us will say something to them. But one thing I can say now, because when I see the ladies is here, also because the small shoulders. What I now, can see many people, not eating from yesterday, because when I see the queues from the food to selling there, it's too far there. I'm proud now. This is a mic stopping me. So
you have had Malawians that are here, but the challenge that we are having is that women do not want to talk on camera, but there are a lot of women here with babies. And yesterday I saw one child who was very, very sick. And the situation that is here, if I can tell you, Joe, there was a time where I did put my camera and my mic down just for the seeing people who are suffering here, and sometimes it takes away everything, your job that is you are doing, and that humanitarian kicks into your mind. And because what we are seeing here is the situation is very bad, and one child was very, very, very sick. We had to look for medication for that child so that she can get help. So this is the kind of situation that we are seeing here at Sherwood Park, where Malawians, like you had one of them saying, they are now up until more than 10,000 who are here. And if I could move away from my camera so that my colleague can show you the situation here. All these people are waiting to be repatriated back to Malawi, but the Malawian government now is silent, is mute on them. For 2 weeks, some have been here. Only 8 buses came, and all these people are waiting with their luggage so that they can go back home because they are scared of the anti-migrant protests that we've been seeing in South Africa. Some of them telling me that they were attacked. Some of them were chased from their places where they are staying in their homes. Some of them were chased from work because they are foreign nationals here in South Africa. So the situation here is very, very devastating, what we are witnessing here. But we continue to monitor this story and see how it goes. Hopefully the Malawian government will come to their rescue job.
Now, finally, Bongani, before we let you go, because, this scene's a very horrible scene we're seeing. It's reminiscent of refugees fleeing war situations that we've witnessed, sadly, on our continent. But the President of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, did address the nation a few days ago in a State of the Nation address, and he did speak on citizens not engaging in vigilantism and doing the work of border control and the police, that the rightful and constitutional authorities should be in charge. Has that speech, the State of the Nation address, has it changed anything on ground with regards to organizations like Operation Dudula and March on March? And is the threat for foreigners, especially fellow Africans, to leave South Africa before the 30th of June, is this still a potent threat? And did the President's speech diffuse the situation in any way?
The situation hasn't changed that much because we're still seeing pockets of protests around the country where migrants are being told that they should leave the country, but also anticipating the 30th of June that was set by some anti-migrant groups saying that all undocumented foreigners should leave South Africa. So I can safely say, Gbenga, the President's speech or address, yes, there was an address, but nothing much has changed on the streets. We're still seeing pockets of protests that are ongoing, and people are still being chased away from their workplaces, those that are undocumented. Some of them who yesterday, if you could recall, I was at a refugee camp where there are people from DRC who showed me their documents, many of them telling me that they are documented, they are refugees in South Africa, but they were not spared. They were also chased from their workplaces and also some from their homes where they are staying. So to answer your question, nothing much has changed as of now after the President's speech. And this also is a testament to that, because when we got here, the numbers were around 6,000. But now we understand the number here has also increased. Up to 3,000, 4,000 people have also come here telling us that they have been chased from the places of their residence where they've been living, some from their workplaces. So this means that nothing much has changed. And also, yesterday, Gbenga, we saw one of the anti-migrant leaders coming here where these Malawians are to be repatriated. And there was chaos because these Malawians were saying, you chased us from the homes. You are the one who said we must leave South Africa. Why then are you following us when we are here ready to go back to our homes? So it was chaotic scenes here yesterday. But however, Gbenga, these Malawians are here and they are pleading with their government to come forward and help them so that they can leave South Africa. You have heard many of them saying that it's been days they haven't eaten anything, and that is very true because we've been here. There is no water. There are those well-wishers who are coming just to give them food, but it's not enough because there are more than 10,000 people that are here. They are also children, some of them who are now getting sick. So the situation that is here that we are witnessing is very, very devastating, and we hope that the government of Malawi is listening so that they can come to the aid of these people that are camped here. And now it's almost, it can rain anytime. So I'm asking myself, what is going to happen to these people? What is going to happen to the children that are here? What is going to happen to women that are here? Because when it rains, where will they run to? So it's a very devastating situation here that we are witnessing.
Bongani, thank you so much for joining and giving us an update of this situation. Of course, we will monitor and see what happens, and hopefully the Malawi government will respond in time and then they can be rescued. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's go on a short break. When we return, Breakfast Central continues. Just stay with us.
Welcome back. Time for the front pages of the newspapers, and we have our in-house analyst, the publisher of the Niche newspaper, Mr. Ike joins us this morning. Welcome, and thank you for being here, sir.
Always my pleasure, Joe.
Morning,
Great.
Mr. Mechi. We're glad to have you join us.
Yeah.
Good morning.
I think we should start off with the punch.
I'm meeting you physically for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You usually join extra or
Online.
virtually.
Yes.
Interesting. Welcome. That's the queen.
Oliver annoyed me, so I sent her to
wow.
buy me
She's still on her way. She hasn't been.
I now brought a royalty to replace her.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you. Olive will be back.
Let's look at the Punch newspaper very quickly. The Punch newspaper has on the front page there, opposition rages as court scraps ADC for parties. Well, not really scrap. We do hear that there's already a sitting court order, you'd say, a stay of execution. But, I mean, we'll leave all of that. Also, Atiku Abubakar mark ADC, a court party, fault court order, deregistering parties. Opposition parties vow to field candidates despite court verdict. Turaki-led PDP Obedient Movement say judgment is an attempt to derail democracy. And I think that's 2027 battle. That's a major story. Inflation near 16% as geopolitical risk bound. We just talked about that not long ago. We had an economist join us. Troops rescue late general's wife in Katsina offensive. I told Obasanjo not to contest 1999 presidency, according to Abdul Salami. Cooking gas, marketers plan massive imports after 140% price surge. Wow. So they want to import it and bring it in to be cheaper. What is going on?
I mean, gas that were flared.
Mr. Mechi.
And then at the bottom of the Punch newspaper, the Air Force officers beat Lagos driver dead after minor clash. I don't understand the language. Did they? Is he dead? Because from that picture,
they beat him to death.
Beat Lagos driver dead.
Minor
crash.
Maybe
he hit their car.
And they go, how dare you?
But I'll find the story. I'll check the details of that story.
Kwara APC crisis worsens as elders reject governorship candidate.
Mr. Mechi, let's start with the 2027 battle. Opposition rages as court scraps ADC for parties. When you heard of this story, of course, the newspaper was at the front of it. What do you have to say about it?
It's all part of the unfolding drama as we move towards the 2027 elections. I was discussing with some friends yesterday, and we agreed that not even during the military era did we have the kind of political scenario we are having, unfortunately, under people who claim to be Democrats, people who claim to have fought the June 12th battle, and people who claim to have forced the military out of office and ushered in what they call democracy. And it is sad about what is going on. Look, there is everything wrong with this judgment. Everything wrong with the judgment. In the first place, they said it is a body of former legislators or whatever. Do they have the locus under the law to institute the case as they did? There is a standing order of the Court of Appeal on this same issue. How can a lower court go out of its way to give a ruling on a matter that the appeal court has given a ruling on? And then, I think it was last week or so here on this table that I was saying that, you know, it has become so ridiculous that you can almost predict which judge is going to handle any case that has to do with certain political actors or certain political parties. So it is not a surprise that the judge who took it upon himself to travel along this lane is Justice Peter Lufu. And on what basis did he give that judgment? Says, in the first place, does INEC have the right to deregister a political party? Yes. I think section 225A of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, gives INEC that right. But there are also conditions. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to deregister party A, B, C, and D. There are thresholds that if you don't meet up with them in elections, then you are considered not worthy of being or participating in future elections. The question to ask is, the 5 political parties that Justice Lifu ordered INEC to deregister yesterday, did they meet those thresholds or not? In the 2023 elections, ADC at least won 2 House of Representatives seats. 2. It doesn't matter if those 2 legislators later defected to other parties, but they won.
They won. It was ADC that was on the ballot. Yeah.
It was ADC that was on the ballot, and they won. Now, and all the other parties, Accord Party,
Zenith Labour Party, APP,
they all won elections one way or the other. And if you were going to deregister based on this, common sense would have detected that, or would have suggested that you do it right after the 2023 elections. Okay, Party A, B, and C did not meet up with what the law says.
Threshold, yes.
And therefore, you have been deregistered. You waited 3 years.
Then is it not even INEC's responsibility?
Only 6 months to
elections.
When parties have gone through the rigors of primaries, presented their candidates, and you are waking up to say, deregister. Now, also, election is coming up when Adeleke is the candidate of Accord Party. Barely 1 month to that election, you are saying deregister, which means Adeleke won't be on the ballot. And does it make sense? Look, we continue to appeal to this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because no matter how hard they try now to deny culpability in the malfeasance that we are seeing in the course right now, it goes without saying that the government has a hand. It's like the biblical
voice of Esau, hand of Jacob.
Voice of voice of Jacob and hand of Esau. If this house comes crashing, it will crash on all of us. The president, the vice president, the governors, and all the people who are undertaking this. What are these people looking for? How can there be a democracy without competition? How can a government that controls the federal government, that has 31 state governors, has absolute majority in the National Assembly, almost all the state houses of assembly, the 774 local governments in this country, they are in the majority. How is it that you are uncomfortable? You are in control of the army, the police, even INEC. As much as they argue they are independent, they are this. We are all in Nigeria. We know how elections are run in this country. The man who plays the piper detects the tone. And in this case, it is the president of Nigeria, who, by the way, going by the powers given to the president under the 1999 Constitution, he is more or less the most powerful president in the whole world. So, why are you afraid? Why do you think that the only way you can go into the 27 elections is that you must go unchallenged. You want a coronation. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And Nigerians must smell the coffee. Nobody owns Nigeria. And nobody is more Nigerian than the other person. That you were elected 3 years ago does not make you Nigeria's alter ego. Does not make you Nigeria writ large. We're all citizens. And when it comes to democracy, it is one man, one vote. The president has only one vote, for crying out loud. And this is why you see everyday governors now promising they will give President Bola
X million amount of votes.
Tinubu so millions of votes. Where are they going to get it from?
But Mr. Meche, I want to push back a bit, just to play devil's advocate here. This is the same Mr. President a few days ago who did give national honors to those journalists and so many civil society activists that helped in the, the democracy struggle as part of the recognition of June 12. The president's records also speak. He was part of NADECO and he touts himself as a Democrat. Just maybe Mr. President is busy with affairs of the state and he doesn't have time for all of this shenanigans. And they will also argue that the executive is separate for the judiciary and there's non-interference. That maybe it's people under the president that is doing this or manipulating the judicial process as a sort of, gift or present to Mr. President, and he doesn't really understand what is going on there. They've argued that way sometimes. They said, look, we're not part of it, there's separation of power, so you can't put this on us.
I wish your prognosis is correct, but it is not. And look, the worst form of lie is the one you tell yourself. When you lie to yourself, when you deceive yourself, when you play the ostrich, burying your head in the sand and thinking because your head is buried in the sand that nobody sees you, then you are only deceiving yourself. Does the president know about this? Is it his lieutenants or people he did not mandate to do things? When people tell you that the president is a master strategist, what are they implying? But being a master strategist, look, in a democracy, the way, I've had people also argue that the president has to do what needs to be done to get a second term. And I ask, what needs to be done?
Good luck, Jonathan didn't get a second term.
What needs to be done is to convince the people. And when people talk about the power of incumbency, the power or the right or the privilege that incumbency confers on you is that you have something to show. You've been in office for 3 years. By the time elections will be held in January, you will be approaching 4 years in office. And therefore, why an Atiku Abubakar, for instance, or an Adebayo, for instance, or a P2B, for instance, why they are saying, this is what I will do. The incumbency factor will enable you to say, this is what I have done.
Yeah.
And if you give me 4 more years, this and this and this are things I will do, or on top of what I have already done.
Please hold your thoughts, sir. I think we have Victor calling in. Do we have Victor?
Yes, I'm here on the line.
All right. Sorry for putting you on hold. Apologies.
Osimhen.
Go on, Victor.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been listening to you with the keen interest because it is an issue that we discussed today, and we are here to solve our political future. Because the narratives of what President Tinubu is saying today, I begin to narrate this back to when the PDP was in power. And some of us thought PDP would never come to an end. But today, here we are. It's not even the main opposition. President Tinubu is setting a bad presidency because tomorrow he may not be there. And it's a bad for our democracy and it is at large. In the sense that the judiciary has become a tool to be used against the opposition, which does not supposed to be so. In fact, I don't want to talk about INEC because all our elections are decided in the courtroom. And the way it is going, it's like no opposition in this country, but whoever comes out, it might find one way or the other. I am not actually an ADC member, but what we are talking about is let there be a playground so that everybody will contest. In fact, as I speak to you now, just as the resource person in the studio, President Tinubu has almost, if I'm not mistaken, 32 governors, his own cabinet. What is he fighting for God's sake? If we actually have a democracy, and if we are to define the definition of democracy, I don't think this is a democracy. In fact, we are running an autocratic government under this regime. I'm sorry to use that word. But if you permit me, I will say that what we are seeing today, it is going to be very bad whenever another region take over the government. Because when we cried of Buhari, of sidelining other regions, during his time, this is worse under his own regime. And the way he's fighting opposition, they're not supposed to be so. If he had used this Moses to fight the bandits in the forest, that would have done us good. Thank you. Have a wonderful celebration.
Says beat Lagos driver dead after minor crash. Just as mentioned, it was actually a collision between the drivers and the car of the Air Force, and there was an altercation. We hear after beating the driver, he sustained some injuries, but unfortunately did not make it. That's a sad story.
Very, very sad. You think 27 years after the military handed over, they would have gone past that hangover of military dictatorship? Why did they keep acting like this? The other day, they went to IKDC to beat up staff and officials there. That was you know, and when these things happen, Mr. Amici, they will send a general to go and speak to them, and then we wait on zero consequences until the next one happens.
Yeah. They need a way to.
It is part of the impunity. It is part of the impunity going on in this country, and it is this mentality, unfortunately, that the political class, now the leaders that took over from the military, you would have thought that they would have weaned themselves of all these dictatorial tendencies. But the fact of the matter is that when you see the way the politicians are also behaving, you ask yourself, is there any difference between what they do and what the military chaps were doing when they were in power? So 27 years or 29 years out of office, those that carry guns still think that they are superior to the civilians, and therefore that you, as a bloody civilian, that you don't have the right to talk back to them if they are backing. So I hope, again, we said a court is the last hope of the common man. But of course, we've seen what the courts have done now. So where will the average Nigerian who feels that his right has been infringed upon, where can he run to? Well, if the courts are not there to protect him? It's just not so sad. We hope, continue hoping that at the end of the day, justice will be served. Because no matter how aggrieved you are, you don't have the right to take a life. It is not you are this sin. So that you beat somebody
to pop and then eventually...
Because he crashed into you or he damaged your car, is it the way to go?
Okay, let's take this call before Queen will take us to the next paper, Nigerian Tribune. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, morning, sir.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your comments.
Yes, my comment is, in fact, court are supposed to have their standard operational procedure. It seems every court is operating as if it's an independent, they are operating independently. And you find out that the aspect is that it will be like witch hunting, or in order to frustrate, to sabotage an opponent, depriving him of his own democratic right. Is it?
Key points, Queen.
A higher court will give a different verdict and a lower court. Is that right? Thank you.
I think our next paper will be the Nigerian tribe. Can we see that?
Can we have the front page of the Nigerian Tribune up, please?
My voice low?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Open.
Don't worry, I read it. Atiku Abubakar, ADC, kick-ass court orders INEC to deregister 5 parties. This is what we've been talking about. It's a manifestation of Tinubu's bid to undermine opposition, says Atiku. These will further erode public confidence in Nigeria's judicial system, says Obi, and ADC rejects order and vows to be on ballot in 2027. Adeleke faults ruling and insists the accord will contest August poll. And besides it, it says World Bank lists Tin Can Apapa port on global top 20 improved ports. That's good. We're using technology to aid freedom of abducted pupils and teachers in Oyo State, says police DIG from Southwest. And troops rescue General Rabi's widow. I think that's the next conversation we'll have with Mr. Ikechukwu. Health, dementia becoming time bomb in Nigeria, Africa, says ESPAC. Maybe that's why they're forgetting some things in the government. Federal government raids over 600 terrorism suspects. Of course, they'll probably be reintegrated. And, you know, UK announces ban on social media for under 16s. I think that's a good idea. And, of course, at the top, Kwara APC elders caucus rejects Danladi, calls for change of governorship candidates. And Nigeria's inflation rise to 15.93% in May. ADC confirms Amici as vice presidential candidate. Which would you like to discuss with Mr. Ikechukwu?
I think the rescue mission. What's your take on that rescue mission?
Well,
and the sad death of the former general.
Let's thank God that at least the wife or the widow now of
General
Abubakar was rescued. Yesterday, they said after a gun battle with the terrorists that abducted her and the now late husband. Unfortunately, General Rabe died in captivity, and everything, like almost everything we do in this country was muddled up. The Katsina State government issued a statement. The man died of complications, diabetes and hypertension. The initial story that we got was that the terrorists released the man's body with the wife. Unfortunately, the son came to clarify in the first place that their father had no history of diabetes and hypertension, and that the mother was still in captivity. Yesterday, they said they have rescued her. She came out with bullet wounds. We didn't hear that any of the terrorists was either killed or apprehended. They said that they bolted away, and they're still looking for them. Like I said earlier, at least we thank God that the woman is alive. And they should make sure nothing happens to her. At least when she recovers, she'll be able to tell us what actually happened. The son was saying that they got information that it was snake bite. Hopefully, the woman will be able to tell us what happened. General Rabe was buried almost immediately. For a man that died under that circumstance, I would have thought that there would be an autopsy or a coroner's inquest. I don't know if the Islamic religion has anything against autopsy, but even if it does, there are circumstances that are exceptional in nature where you must waive some of these religious security, considerations for national security, for the sake of the country. Nigerians needed to know. This is a man who served meritoriously 35 years, was the spokesman of the military. For him to have died in such horrendous circumstance, particularly after they forced him to do a video where he was practically begging for his life. A country that claimed to be fighting terrorism needed to use this and all the intel they would have gotten from the autopsy that would have been conducted to know actually what the issues were. But be that as it may, he has been buried. I'm not too sure that they are going to ever exhume the body to do this. But the wife is out now. But look, every day we come here, every week come here, it is the same issue of security, insecurity, how well we are faring or how badly we are faring. And government people will come to tell us, it is improving. How on earth is it improving? General Rabe will be about the third general in recent times that has died in the hands of terrorists. You remember the general in Borno that was killed after he appealed to his colleagues to come and rescue him, General Oba. Another one was killed, General Brimo. And now we have died in different circumstances, but the thing that links the 3 deaths is the fact that they all died because of the insecurity that is ravaging the land, as it were. The children and teachers in Orire local government are still in the bush. Nobody knows what has happened to them. Look at the weather. 2-year-old child in the bush. How are they surviving? Who has died? Are they all alive? When will they be rescued? The children and teachers in Askeroba, Benue State, nobody is even talking about them again. We have moved on. All we are concerned about is to get a judge to deregister political parties. People are talking about 2027 elections when our compatriots, our brethren, our brothers, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters are languishing in hell, literally.
And Mr. Mechi, talking about those that are languishing in the bushes, which is unfortunate, almost 1 month. The police DIG for the Southwest says we are using technology to aid freedom of abducted people.
They should stop talking, Gbenga. They should stop talking. Are they going to use juju before? Is it not in the technology? Let them go and rescue the people. Now, stop telling us you are using technology. You are using
almost
this.
1 month after.
If you must use native doctors, please do. What we want is that these people come. We talk too much. You are doing this. You have deployed 1,000
high-powered delegation to Benue State.
You sent the high-powered delegation. You have recruited 1,000
forest guards. State police is coming.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Remember, when in Plateau State, after the killings, when President Tinubu went to that place, and of course he couldn't even leave the airport. They said that we are going to install 5,000 AI-powered CCTVs.
Thank you for remembering the AI.
AI powered. Today is, that's months gone now.
Go and find out whether even one has been installed. So the DIG should stop now telling us you are using technology. What were you going to use before?
Some of these comments are very pedestrian, and I mean, it's borderline insultive to the sensibilities of Nigerians, like the 5,000 AI-powered cameras. So you put the camera there, and somebody is in the act of committing crimes. Do we even have a data fingerprint, national security number of everybody? So the camera will tell you, please do not commit this crime. Drop your arms and go back. That's not effective. You just want to speak to Nigerians for the sake of it, and I think it's an insult. You're right. They should stop talking, and it's time they rescue those kids. Enough of the talk. But just before we go, FGI arraigned 600 terrorism suspects as court sentences. Terrorist doctor. Wow.
Yes, the
real doctor or medical doctor or native doctor. Yes, to imprisonment, same farmers. So how productive is this? And I also read, I mean, some positive news, sharing news. It's not all doom and gloom. We have just Kano State government is about to spend 1.5 billion on mass marriage. 2,000. There's love in the air. Happy Valentine's Day in advance, my brother.
So they'll marry the repented bandits, or
no,
what they marry?
No. Just for
it's welfare.
Just for the welfare.
To 1.5. Empower them in
1.5 billion.
In their homes. Called home empowerment.
That brings
AI marriage.
Love is in the air. Happy Valentine's Day, Queen.
Congratulations to them.
Congrats to them.
Oh my God.
So as we leave with 4 questions. 2 to INEC. INEC, we're waiting for the forensic report on the chairman. We're waiting for an update on Emeka Ike. We're also waiting for the CCTV cameras to be put in AI-powered cameras. And then, of course, the 50,000 policemen to be dropped.
And forest guards.
That's all on the show this morning. Thank you so much for watching. Jasiri is up next. Queen, thank you for being here, for gracing us with your beauty.